Hi, I'm John Sheehan, and with this presentation, I'll be working to give you a snapshot of the relatively new industry of environmental consulting. To start, I'd like to focus on an overview of the industry in question. The reason environmental consulting came to exist was due to the need of corporations, both large and small, and governments to comply with the growing environmental regulations that govern the way factories must be built, land must be used, and products must be created. Due to the stringent nature of these regulations, some companies have been forced to undergo a major restructuring of the way they do business, and it's necessary for them to call on the services of specialist agencies to design and implement this restructuring. These specialist companies are those that make up the environmental consulting industry, and the services each company supplies are specific, diverse, and varied. These services include environmental assessment, site remediation, natural resource management, and many others. Now, technology is a key part of several services provided by environmental consulting agencies, most notably in site remediation, which involves the cleanup of land, air, and water that is contaminated in a detrimental way to the environment. Each company's approach to site remediation differs, meaning that the technologies developed to perform this service are varied. For example, some firms use complex software to model air pollution dispersion, some firms have labs to measure specific indicators of environmental quality, and other firms offer environmental management systems that help clients comply with regulations and goals related to sustainability. However, because many of the functions of environmental consulting firms don't require specialized technologies, these agencies don't make dedicated research into environmental technology a priority, making the level of technologies change in this industry fairly low. Now, obviously, environmental factors are essential to the working of an environmental consulting firm. Most notably, the ever-changing environmental regulations on businesses and corporations are what create the demand for the expertise of these firms. While environmental regulations seem to generally be getting stricter with time, as it becomes more and more of a necessity to preserve the planet we live in the United States specifically, the control of Congress and the presidency by the Republican Party means that environmental regulations in the states are currently at risk of many drastic changes and relaxations. Specifically, U.S. administration has already begun to reduce the power of the Environmental Protection Agency and withdrawn from the Paris Agreement on greenhouse gas emissions, meaning that in the coming years, the role of environmental consulting agencies will most likely change in a multitude of ways. So, what does it take to become a part of this industry? Now, there are many different types of skills, information, and abilities you need to have to work for an environmental consulting agency, due to the fact that positions at these companies are often very interdisciplinary. A prevalent position in this industry is work as an environmental engineer, and to attain this position, applicants will need in-depth knowledge in several subjects, including engineering and technology, chemistry, and environmental law. An applicant will also need skills specific to the use of technology, including proficiency in working with analytical software and photo imaging software, as well as others. Finally, to keep a job as an environmental engineer, applicants will have to become skilled at performing a diverse multitude of tasks, which include, but are not limited to, the design of systems for the remediation of water, air, or soil quality, and serving as a liaison with federal, state, or local agencies on issues of hazardous waste. Now we come to the question of employment outlook of this industry, because this determines whether an individual should even seek jobs in this sector. Well, the industry of environmental consulting itself is growing, and the number of employees is expected to increase by 0.9% until 2023, increasing the total number of workers in these agencies to 131,582. Furthermore, employee retention at environmental consulting firms is fairly high, especially if an employee is able to demonstrate specific expertise in certain areas of importance to the company. This is because when a firm signs a contract with an environmental consulting agency, what they're paying for is employee expertise on how to deal with environmental regulations. This makes it a necessity for environmental consulting companies to devote large amounts of time and resources to hiring and retaining skilled employees. And thus, the employment outlook in this industry is very positive for a skilled and dedicated individual. The industry of environmental consulting is one that changes every day due to the new environmental policies introduced into the world, and thus it's necessary to use good sources to keep up to date on the industry outlook. Websites that provide specific industry information and statistics are particularly valuable, including databases such as IBIS World, First Research, ONET, and Hoover's. Furthermore, the American Bar Association provides a quarterly magazine under their Natural Resources and Environment section that gives interesting stories about the new environmental regulations being put into place and how companies are adapting to deal with these regulations. To conclude, the environmental consulting industry is a complex and ever-changing industry, and it's becoming more and more important and growing every day due to the increased importance of protecting our rapidly deteriorating environment, for the benefit of future generations.